Hi, this is Jeng with Old Capital, and today I'm here with Al.Silva, and we are going to be talking about a new deal that he recently launched called Basswood Manor. Al, maybe give people a little introduction on yourself, and then we'll jump into this new deal.
Hi, James. Thanks for having me. Really appreciate it. My name is Al.Silva. I'm with Marcus and Millichap out of the Fort Worth office. Been with the company for 17 years. Been specifically focused on B and C multifamily in the Dallas-Fort Worth area this whole time. Yeah, we've got a property that we just launched yesterday, or actually on Tuesday, called Basswood Manor, which is a 212 unit property, and happy to visit with you about it.
All right, let's jump into the deal. So maybe give some of the high level details on this deal over in Lewisville.
Yeah, sure. So this is just really an outstanding value add opportunity. I mean, no value add has been used, maybe overused over the last 10 years or so, but I think there is a real opportunity here. You know, this is a property that is well located in Lewisville, which is a, suburb of Dallas, about 100,000 people, very fast growing city, very affluent location, $77,000 average household income with a 1 mile radius, $63,000 median household income. This property in particular, you can come in to this great location with great schools, pick up a good yield. It's better than a 5% tax adjusted cap rate walking in the door on existing NOI. And then on top of that, you've got a real opportunity to go in there, upgrade unit interiors, upgrade common area amenities and curb appeal, maybe rebrand the property and increase rents from that standpoint. And then on the other side of the equation, you have a great opportunity to go in there and cut utility costs because there's been no water conservation or utility conservation programs that have been done at this property yet. So you go in there, do the water conservation. We have a quote from Save Water for $71,000 in annual water expense savings. On top of that, you could do an LED lighting package throughout the common areas of the property and the office and install LED light bulbs even in the units, and you could save a ton more in electricity. And so the beauty of that is you're looking at $80,000 to $100,000 in expense savings just based on utility costs. And the beauty of it, the best part, is that this is currently run as an all bills paid property. So all that cost savings from the utilities go straight to NOI and adds to cash flow and adds to value. So on one side of the equation, you have the opportunity to increase rents. And on the other side of the equation, you have the opportunity to cut operating expenses in a real way. So, we've got a great location. We've got a unit mix here that's over 80% 2- and 3-bedroom floor plans, averaging over 900 square feet. It's perfect for families because you've got, this elementary school right across the street from the property. That's Lewisville ISD. The middle school is in walking distance. The high school is also very close by. So you have these large floor plans. You've got 2- and 3-bedroom units, all the schools nearby. And it's really, that makes it an ideal place to live for families. It's only, about 14 units per acre. So, it's very low density. There's plenty of room for kids to play. Every time I'm at the property, there are kids out there running around and playing. So really what it comes down to is it's rare in Dallas to find something that's got a yield going in, that's got real upside, that's in a good location, and has good schools. And so I think it's got a lot going for it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how many times I've been asked, find me a C asset in a B location. And
Right.
so I love that you put that in there. Yeah, I mean, it sits right off of sort of I-35. You can get to I-35 in, a couple minutes, all the stuff along, Dallas North Tollway in terms of office and retail jobs over here. And then you're, probably 15 minutes to the airport and then probably 20, 25 minutes downtown. So, I mean, it sits in a great location. And, what you maybe talk about some of the surrounding area up here around the property, and you can see sort of the layout here in the upper right.
Right. And so, yeah, I mean, you hit the nail on the head. I mean, the location is ideal, not only just in the immediate area because of the school, but you've also got plenty of office around you, plenty of employment, plenty of retail, shopping that's nearby that you can get to. What I think is most important to note about the specific property in this location is that really when it comes to affordable housing in this area, you're essentially the only game in town. Everything that's nearby is 80s, 90s, 2000s construction, a very different price point in rents, very different criteria when it comes to incomes for leasing, et cetera. You've got to travel 3-4 miles to find another all bills paid property. So when it comes to being a family who's looking for an affordable place to live in a good location with all these things nearby, including the schools, especially the schools, I think that's what sets Basswood Manor apart from a lot of other similar type deals in DFW. Is usually you're surrounded by other properties that are exactly the same or very similar. This one, you kind of have a monopoly on the affordable housing component, and that supply demand works in your favor as the owner.
That's perfect. So I put some pictures up on the screen just on the exterior. I guess in terms of recent CapEx or anything sort of on the exterior or interiors, we put some pictures on the interiors. Have they done any unit upgrades, or what's the story on the interior so far?
Well, I'll tell you, the current owner has had the property a little over 4 years, and they've never done an interior upgrade program. The current, kind of quote unquote upgrade is about 65% of the units, and they were all done more than 5 years ago by previous ownership. So you have the opportunity to go in there and improve not only the 35% of the untouched units, but also the 65%. Those quote unquote upgrades are over, half a decade old now. There are no black appliances, and there are a number of things that you can go in there and improve on the interiors. The exterior, the good news is the current owner, after they bought the property, they went in and replaced all the roofs, so you don't have to worry about replacing the roofs anytime soon. There's 2 boilers on the property. They replaced both of those, so those are both replaced within the last year to 2 years. You also have, even though it's all bills paid, you have all individual HVAC units. So you don't have to worry about maintaining chiller systems. So you can focus on improvements that are going to move the needle on rents. You can look at the curb appeal, look at common area amenities, look at going in with kind of a more of a modern interior upgrade package, but you're not running around spending a bunch of money ripping out 20-year-old carpets. You can go and you have a decent baseline to work with.
Yeah, let's touch on some of the I guess the property details in terms of we touched on roof, HVAC, and then I guess touch on anything else in terms of density or sort of unit mix here.
Yeah, as I mentioned earlier, the unit mix is ideal for this type of property in this location. Over 80%, 2 and 3 bedroom floor plans, over 900 square feet average unit size. And so it's ideal for families along with the low density. Something I didn't mention a minute ago with the low density is all this land that's on the property where kids are always playing. I think there's a lot of opportunity to go and add common area amenities in that space that could really, right there, James. So, that's literally a football field size area. And there's a couple little playground areas there right now, but I think a lot more could be done there, and you're kind of furthering that family appeal. That's kind of the bricks and sticks of it.
Okay. And then, so you mentioned or alluded to some of the rent roll in terms of, I guess, older leases that maybe people have been on the property for a while, and sort of the newer leases and sort of that organic rent growth. Maybe touch on that.
Yeah. So, I think this is one of the most compelling things about this offering is, I'm talking about this yield going in that's better than a 5 cap at our guidance price, which is $26 million. We only underwrote a $60 effective rent increase on our pro forma. This is despite the fact that if you go back and compare the 5 oldest leases for each floor plan to the 5 newest leases for each floor plan, and basically what you're saying is, okay, what were they leasing for 12 months ago? What are they leasing for now? You do that comparison for the floor plans and average it all out. In the last 12 months, the organic rent growth, because the current owner hasn't done anything with the interiors in the last year, is over $99 in the last 12 months. So if we've already got $99 during a pandemic in rent growth, it tells you about the supply demand dynamics in this submarket. In our pro forma, we could have been more aggressive with it, but we only underwrote a $60 effective rent increase, and the numbers work really well. So you can be confident going in that based on conservative underwriting, the numbers look really good.
No, that's perfect. So we pulled up some rent comps here, and let me you probably have 8 or 9 on the sheet from the OM. And I guess what we want to point out is sort of these are the rents um, as build back. They all have build backs on top of this rent for electric, for water, maybe even trash. And, 2 of them had electric build back to the tenant. So we estimated about $100, maybe $150, just depending on the size of the unit. So maybe touch on the rent comps in this sort of 3 mile radius.
Well, I'll tell you, this is a really tough property to comp out. There aren't really any really good rent comps because, as I mentioned, you're kind of the only game in town when it comes to, blue collar affordable housing in this pocket. So everything nearby is 80s and newer. It's a different tenant profile, so it's tough to do an apples to apples comparison. But and the best way you can do it, James, is by adjusting for utilities. And even when you adjust for $100 for utilities, which is probably, like you said, more like $150 a month, you're still by far at the bottom of the rent stack for this submarket. So you're still by far the most affordable property to live in, even with the current rents where they are. So you look at the average and median household incomes for the 1 mile area that I alluded to earlier, and you compare it to where the rent structure is at the property now. I think it's pretty clear that there's room to push rents if you're offering a higher quality product.
Right. And so I pulled up your pro forma in terms of, so we talked about the rental increase and then maybe talk about what the upside and expenses are in terms of utilities.
Yeah, sure. So on the revenue side of the equation, we didn't really do a whole lot except push effective rents by $60. So that takes your effective gross income, your collections every year up about $200,000 on an annualized basis. So you can increase revenue by $200,000 within 18 months or so at this property. And then on the expense side, we kind of left everything about where it is today, with one major exception that you highlighted here, which is utilities. We've got a $70,000 reduction in utility expense on our pro forma, which again, I think is conservative because our Save Water Company estimate that's in the OM that you can see is $71,000 in annual savings. But on top of that, you install LED lighting throughout the property. I think you're going to save quite a bit more on top of that 70 grand. So, and the beauty of it is all of it goes to NOI. So a lot of folks might say, well, why not implement a RUBS program since it's all bills paid? And I think that's a fair question if they had already done the utility conservation program at this property. But the fact that they haven't, and you have all this low hanging fruit by cutting that cost, and it's right there in front of you. You don't have to redo your tenant base or anything like that. I would leave the RUBS opportunity to the next owners because it's just so easy to go in there and install some new toilets and lighting and see that all that NOI come to the bottom line.
Right. No, that's perfect. So we looked at it a couple ways on the debt side. I mean, this is a stabilized deal. Occupancy's well over 90 on this deal. And so we looked at it on Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. And, on the straight Fannie Mae execution, we were right at about 75% of the purchase price or whisper price. And then the unique thing on this one is that if you do qualify for green, right? So the water side, you'll definitely qualify. Even on the electric side with the new lighting, you're going to qualify. And so what that's going to allow you to do is underwrite some of those savings. And so with the green program on the Fannie side, we're going to get you to probably in that 75 to 80% loan to value. On Fannie Mae, you're at 12 months of P&I on your reserve right now. And so build that into your model. So that's usually about 5% of the loan amount. And then on the Freddie Mac conventional side, similar LTV, 75%. If you want a floating rate, it's going to probably start in that 3 to 325, depending on if you want a 7-year or a 10-year loan term. And then on the Freddie Mac side, it's 9 months of P&I on the conventional side. And so, in terms of underwriting, very similar to Al's underwriting, we did net rental on T3 for Fannie and Freddie. They have to use sort of what's in place, other income at T12. 3% management fee is pretty standard on a 200 plus unit deal. G&A, payroll, about payroll is 1,100. Utilities, this is probably where it's different. So we have T12, but water and sewer, we could potentially take a lot of those savings. So if you think you can get let's say 100,000 in savings, we can underwrite about 70% of that, and that'll improve your NOI significantly. R&M at 600 a door, insurance 450, and then we took taxes up to about 75% of the purchase price in line with the loan amount on this particular deal. So we were getting to right in that 75 to 80%, which is pretty strong for DFW right now. So, it sizes well on this deal because of the cash flow currently on the property. So I guess wrapping up, Al, any other comments on the deal, or sort of where are you guys in the process, and have you guys set sort of a date for call for offers yet?
Well, we just launched the property on Tuesday. We just brought it to market. Typically, we'll run a 3 to 4 week marketing process. So I encourage you to review all the financials, do your underwriting. If it works for you, let's set up a property tour, talk to James about the financing options, because that's something out of everything I've discussed here. One of the most exciting things is free and clear of existing debt. So you can take advantage of historically attractive financing options. But we'll do a call for offers here in about 3 to 4 weeks. But you've got a good location, you've got yield, you've got upside that's demonstrable. And so we're excited to be offering this one, and hopefully we can do this one together, James.
Great. Appreciate you coming on, Al. And I'll probably see you out there on the next tour.
I'm sure we will. Looking forward to it. Thanks for having me. Really appreciate it.
Thanks, Al.